Happy Sunday, everybody. What are you doing to prepare yourself for the week ahead and getting yourself in a writing to heal mindset? Let's go ahead and get started. Hey there, everybody. Welcome on back. It's good to see you. Welcome. I hope you're feeling great. I see Jess is here. Welcome, everybody, live or on the replay. Let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're doing. And bring a friend who probably needs to hear what we're talking about today. I am a Virgo. I'm very guilty about today's topic. Done is better than perfect. I literally have this on my desktop on my one, as somebody calls it, my W2 position. And I probably should have it also on my desktop when I redo my desktop and vision board for the upcoming Q3 of the year version of HB90. So it says be the ripple right now. I think it needs to say done is better than perfect, so be the ripple and combine the two. So perfectionism is something all of us as writers beat ourselves up with a little too dang much. Just going to admit it. It shows up in many ways. We punish ourselves with it, i.e., I'm going to read through this thing one more time before I release it into the world, when really what I should have done was already just released it out into the world. I think I am guilty of doing that as part of why I did the rebrand relaunch revolution and turned my books into what they were, into what they're awesomely becoming in the next year or so. And as far as editing goes, I know as strict of an editor as I am for my clients, I'm twice as hard as I am on myself, and probably unrightfully so, as I watch a spider crawl down the wall behind where my camera is. Sorry. What are some common symptoms and behaviors? Getting trapped in your own web like a spider might sometimes, or a spider getting trapped in another spider's web, because sometimes we're perfectionists for the sake of pleasing others. It's baggage we carry for other people. Symptoms of it can lead to things like insomnia, in my opinion, because you're always stressed out. You're always worried. It can sometimes lead to procrastination, and there is a healthy amount of procrastination, i.e., I am guilty of showing up way too early and overstressing at stuff way before I have to. So learning to show up closer to on time might be procrastination for some people in that way. There's also just how it can hinder your progress. Definitely so. Ooh, probably going to need that. Yep. Feel free and welcome to use. Hello, Mom Jilla. It's great to see you. And Sherry, glad to I was just going to say, it sounds like Mel was just wrapping up. I've been lurking and listening in myself over there. So you're kind of getting the double dose of reality between the two of us today. So also with perfection, letting it go definitely feels like, I feel this way about a lot of emotions, to be fair. Sometimes releasing it is like releasing grocery bags that are way too heavy that you carried for too long. You sometimes get that indent in your hand. Let that indent heal before you slap something back onto it, because the pressure of it being there hurt more than just letting it go and being done. For us as writers, letting it go and being done literally means, here, world, go read it. It's all right. It's all right. Whenever you're welcome to be here is when you're here, my friend. And yes, spiders on cue. Spiders on cue. I'm learning that I can actually increase my productivity simply by convincing myself that it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Some of you have legitimately asked me, Jenna, how is it you do all the things you do? I literally just will look myself in the mirror and say, Jenna, just go do it and get it over with. That's how I operate sometimes with some things. It's literally felt like that with marketing to some degree for authors. We really don't like it because, as a Pulitzer Prize winning literary author recently said, I get paid to sit in my office for 8 to 10 hours a day and talk to people I make up for a living in my head. So pardon me if this is painful and awkward for everybody involved at first until I get used to doing the whole hello social media thing. And then to hear that even trad authors, like one of my favorite commercially published trad authors in vampire novels is J.R. Ward. And she said the hardest part of her day is often just putting her butt in the chair and doing the thing. And I'm like, okay, if that is literally the hardest part of her day, then she makes the money she makes. Why am I not just putting my butt in the chair and doing the thing? And that has always stuck with me since the beginning of my career. And there's videos of her at interviews on YouTube admitting that sometimes that's the worst and hardest part outside of being forced to be social, because she's like most writers, an extremely private person naturally. She said normally it's just the habit, the routine of showing up. Also, with being done over perfect, you learned to accept that it's okay that you're not perfect. And that's a hard one for a lot of us. That's a hard one for a lot of us. So many of us have responsibilities. Some of us have multiple jobs. Some of us are mothers. Some of us have spiritual communities we attend to. Some people have virtual businesses, but real life friends and family who need them. And they have their needs, wants, desires too. You got to find a balance of feedback from them and allowing that feedback. And that sucks. It's not always pretty. When we look around at the people who matter most to us and go, okay, I want more time with you. How can we fix this? It's just a different kind of hard. Also, being done lends you to putting the bricks to building your business in place sooner, not later. Because a lot of the time, especially through your first book or two, us writers might go, oh, this feels so unnatural, so unnatural, so unnatural, so selfish to want to sit here and work on a project that at this moment is not making anybody anything but me feel good. It has to be that kind of investment to start. And that's why it's okay to just let it be done. Let it be in the hands of your readers, which, like I said earlier, is scary. Why? Because they can give you flambe reviews. Okay, if heaven forbid that happens, backbone, except they are just not your intended reader most of the time. Or whatever bad mood they leave in a review might be more about their life and not about your writing. These are lessons. They're hard learns, but if you don't get to, okay, let's just cross this hurdle, perfect's never going to show up. Bob Ross keeps coming up. All of his paintings are perfect in their own way, and they have a ton of imperfections in them. One of the greatest graffiti artists of all time, Banksy. Half of his graffiti probably has misspellings in them that he corrected over, and you'd never know it. Jess, you feel that on days? Yes. Your depression's lying to you on behalf of somebody else, usually, because they didn't want to carry the weight of whatever it is they're throwing on to you. If you can just make it to sprints 99% of the time within the first, so for some of us, I have taken to, during my sprints, strictly working on writing my novels. I will edit when I'm live with you guys. I will only work on my own books. That's a lot of time every week that I prioritize just my books. But the rest of the week, I'm working 50 plus hours on stuff for other people. I'm working about maybe 10 on stuff for me. So then you gotta allow, in my opinion, 10 to 20 hours for meetings between everything. So keep that in mind too. Keep that in mind too. Sam, I was hoping you would show my for a visit, my friend. It's good to see you. Huge hugs, huge hugs. Glad to have you here. To me, I'd rather start at this point. I'm finishing my fifth book. I have a lot of books started is my issue. I have started a lot of shiny projects in the last 3 years. Now I need to finish them. So I need to keep in mind that sometimes it's better to put in the reps and build my portfolio. Give myself more data points to rely with is also the way in, say you want to be an author tuber, how I contextualize it with social media. Find one thing that people respond to well on your channel and literally loop around a deeper dive, take it up another level on the spiral staircase of your content. This is why K-12 education supposedly structures the way it does in math classes. You learn a little bit of the basics of everything, and then the next year you're supposed to review what you learned the previous year, build on it with some strong roots, and then start spiraling up on the concepts. See, no one ever explained math like that to me until high school. The second I had a trigonometry teacher say, okay, do you remember learning blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah? Well, here's why you needed to know those. I'm like, had they taught math like that all along, I probably would have twice as better confidence in math skill than I do. A lot of you probably understood that statement. Also, strategies to overcome perfectionism. Are your goals realistic? This is something as a teacher that I got really good at writing for the benefit of other people as part of my lesson planning and curriculum. My specialization, other than developmental reading and writing, is curriculum development for people who have learning disabilities and neurodivergence. That's kind of my specialty and what I've worked with. That's what I'm good at. So coming from that realm of thought, I will admit, school teaches you to overwork and overplan. Because teachers are told, plan for not for a 40-minute class period. Pretend your classes are 50 minutes in case they run short. You have plenty of content. I always have more than enough content to cover because I'm over planning. So are you over planning? I know it's something I'm guilty of. Do I finish everything on my Kanban board every quarter? Probably not. There's been a couple of quarters where I did, but it's only because I did it in very unhealthy ways, and I don't want to repeat that no more. So what are you doing with your goals? Are they realistic? Are they achievable? Are you giving yourself enough baby steps to get to them? Like how literally Legolas asks Gimli in Lord of the Rings, do you need a box? No shame meant. Let me be your Legolas for a second here and give you that sibling type love. Because let's get real, if anything, Legolas and Gimli end up being brothers from another mother. Let me sibling hug you a second. Are you just putting way too much on your plate at the buffet of life? Are you giving yourself a life food baby on your to-do list and then punishing yourself for it later? Neuroscience suggests that the human brain can handle about 7 tasks being done a day. Like, we're talking, it takes you a solid 45 minutes to an hour to do them from whatever needs to be done. So justifying the 8-hour workday with its breaks and lunches is appropriate here. All the more, right? But are you putting 10, 20, is the task you're assigning really 10, 20 tasks? Guilty, been there, done that. I'm going to finish 3 books in a quarter. No way in heck you are, Jenna. Not with your schedule. Let's get real. Overplan on the daily. Yup. Some of it's habit, right? Jess, you have one project you started in Nano 2021 that you wasn't sure would be ever finished, see the light of day, and somehow scrapped it, but wasn't wasted. See, you learned. That's the thing. This is why I started my 2 big spin-off series when I decided, did I even want to continue writing this one? Let me play around in the sandbox. It took 6 months to a year that may have been invested elsewhere, but now my writing's a heck of a lot stronger because I played around in the sandbox. Since when has playing in that sandbox been a punishment? Since perfectionism had a say. You overplan for today, Jess, but your energy, see, this is the other thing. The roller coaster of life. Sarah Cannon says this all the time. It's going to be different on different days. Even though if you don't have something that's hormone related or that's related to your immune system or your body not working in your favor, because this. Ultimately, yes, this mom. If you learn something, especially if you had a good time doing it, because it's a different kind of uncomfortable, a different kind of hard, this. All 120% this. Sam, you think if I don't... I feel this. Then depression will make my energies too... Like, you need the stress there to make you do it, but are you putting stress you don't deserve? Like, is it becoming a chore? That's how I still feel about posting on Instagram and Facebook without being able to connect it to something like later. That, I can do it a month in advance and it just puts it out for me. It's so much more convoluted and it feels like such a chore. So now I'm really bad at it. Whereas where I used to be really good at it, right? Different kind of hard. Jazz. Oh no. I'm beginning to think I have it too because my lungs never fully recovered after. And my energy levels since have been crap. Like, I'll admit, because we got COVID Thanksgiving 2024 or 3, like literally, and then we were supposed to move to here 2 weeks later. I'm like, really? And my lungs have never felt the same. That's the only time we've had it. But since then, I don't breathe great at night. I'm waking up, not hearing my alarms in the morning. Yeah. Energy, like, it takes me until noon to think straight. So feeling this. Just for me, that method would be, yeah, see, I learned my lesson with the over planning as a K-12 educator, because at the end of every school year, when my kids would only do 80% of 100% of the work I planned, I would get mad at me. What's wrong with me? When really all along the way, what I'm doing on the daily is doing it at their pace that they need and giving them what they need when they need it, which is why we had to slow down by 2 units. But what shows up on my evals, inability to conform to planning. You told me to overplan, dude. So some of us literally as students don't even realize that we're being exposed to that kind of pressure because teachers aren't allowed to talk about it and you're not aware about the adults talking about it behind you. So Sherry had it. Oh, good gosh. Your heart is messed up. Yes. I remember you saying this. Huge hugs to you is the exhaustion. Yes. My mother-in-law was, she's now retired. She was an occupational therapist and got the vid 3 times, and her lungs finally said no more after the 3rd time because she's asthmatic. So feeling this, as far as understanding, just watching what it's done to her, I couldn't imagine the repeat exposure. Rachel, hello, my friend. It's great to see you. Thanks for being here. Yes, this is me. This is me this summer. Not only am I trying to fix my toxic workaholicism, because Jenna knows she has it as a perfectionist, learning work-life balance is key. A lot of us are at the stage in our business where we can start going, okay, when can I take a break because I deserve it? Jess. Excuse me, sir/ma'am. You told me to do it this way. Make up your mind. Welcome to K-12 education, and literally why half of my colleagues are leaving in droves every year. So getting back to perfectionism there for sure, K-12 definitely surrounds everybody there with it. You need to just embrace your process. We were talking about trusting the process in last week's Writing to Heal. So if you missed it, definitely want to go ahead and give it a good solid listen. But also look at the importance of giving yourself feedback. This is why when Sarah Cannon has us do those weekly and monthly reflections, or any planning journaling system process that has you intentionally pause and reflect, you shouldn't be beating yourself up. You should literally be focusing more on what you did right, because you got to just trust the process. Sometimes the vase looks uglier before it looks cleaner when you're throwing clay. We're throwing clay with words. We're painting pictures with words. You're going to have some messed up trees. That's okay. That's okay. I mean, if you look out the window of wherever you're sitting and you see a tree, it's not going to be perfect as it would be drawn in our brains. Typically, it would be, some of them are going to have cut off limbs. Some of them are going to be struck by lightning. How did they revise themselves after that? And also, just look at techniques to focus on progress. What are you doing to reward yourself? It doesn't have to be food. A lot of us are food motivated. It doesn't have to be buying something. One of my new favorite things to do is when I finish a chapter and put it up to Ream Stories, I go stand out on the porch and enjoy the view out off of our patio here for 5-10 minutes and just unplug from everything and rest my brain. That's more than enough in some instances for some people. Sam, the worst, you don't want to do it. You don't want to remind yourself how much you rock. You're sitting at the correct lunch table, sweetheart. If you need reminders of how much you rock, character randomizers on the monthly, weekly live streams, showing up to as many people's sprints as often as you can, just simply to say hi and cheer on. I'll give you this, as I have a moo literally right here, not even 6 inches away from my feet, demanding I pet her with one hand while streaming. Yes. So what do you need to do to form boundaries? Because you've had Kona for how long now? Is it time to train a boundary to the baby so that you can work on your other baby, book baby? Our pets, you included Miss Queen down there, are literally like children in this regard. And to them, what's the perfect day? Tons of time with you. See, you notice I have the table set up increasingly so to discourage that. She also took a tumble trying to jump up onto the table the other day. And I think she scared herself. So yeah. Training the old lady to accept she's 19. Do you want to come say hi since we're talking about you and you know it now? Hello. She was asleep. But mommy, you're talking. You woke me up. Hello. Our therapy cat is here. She thinks she's a therapy cat. Rest your brain. Does not compute. You're a mom of teenagers and young adults, right? This is valid. You feel this. Because you feel like you have octopus arms some days. What are you doing to take care of you outside of making sure you get your morning mocha, Mom? Moms are, we have more than one mom in chat here. Moms are guilty of this. Wives are guilty of this, right? Husbands are guilty of this. So are fathers. You have a lot on your plate. What are you doing to making sure you're taking care of you? Hello, Miss Moo, who's literally just going to creep sit right there off screen. Ha. Feel better now? Alrighty, so she's a boxer. See? Boxer puppers get what they want because we normally give in. Same with tuxedo kitties. I do agree. I do think tuxedo kitties have boxer-like presence. Always have. Got the planner you chose for the reflections portion. Just skip. See? If I don't force myself to do this, I'm guilty of this too. It's why if I don't show up to, like this week is weird. I normally do my planning during Mel's morning sprints. Now, when we lived at the apartment, I was doing it with Tracy, the revised writer, and Sunday evenings. So what am I learning? I might want to switch around my Sundays a little bit on the days Mel takes mornings off, and rightfully so, Mel deserves the break, or I got to train myself to grab a replay, right? So what choices are we routinely making that are becoming habits that are actually becoming limitations because we're like, if I just keep doing it this way, horse with blinders, if I keep running in this direction, it's going to be perfect. It's going to be fine. No, done is slightly that way. Done is slightly that way. Why not literally step into done? Thank you. This is true. This is true. And that was Hime. That was Hime. Never realized how important. See, for me, I didn't realize how important weekly reflection was until I had A, Sarah, but B, I'm taking full-time purpose course with some of you are taking the conscious coaching accelerator or business accelerator. I'm not sure which one they're running this time, but Matt, Aaron, and Victor, they literally have verbally put in the reps of reminding me in the last year, stop and pause, stop and pause, stop and pause. And Matt keeps saying, if you don't give yourself those forced patterned interrupts, as he calls them, then your brain's not going to learn. Then you're not going to put in the new reps to learn the new habit. He's not wrong. So that's why literally as soon as I get off here, speaking of, she lays down now. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. To be true to my word, I'm going to go and encourage you that done is better than perfect. Okay. So this stream is about to be done. Was it perfect? She showed up, so maybe. It's perfect in that regard. Did it have mess ups? Sure. Oh well. I'm going to go rock out and get a break. You deserve a break too. Above all, done is better than perfect. Stop beating yourself up. And if you need a reminder, come over and sit at my table. I'll give you a hug until you believe it yourself. From me and Moo, all the love. Bye.